Hello folks, what have we here? Well, I know what it is. I was standing on an aerosol. Oh, jolly good. As unboxing videos go on YouTube, this is a shit one. This is a motorcycle fork from my friend's motorcycle, and he asked me to do the seal for him. So he left it for me yesterday. Ooh, it's an upside downy. That could be interesting. I didn't know it was an upside downy. Yeah. Right. I think, I might be wrong, but I think it's off a Suzuki Intruder. I think I'm going to have to text him and ask him, because I didn't know it was an upside downy, so I've got to find out how to get this apart. And in here should be the oil and the seals. Oh yes. Well, hello there. 10 weight, yep. Jolly good. There's some pyramid part seals. They're alright, I've used pyramid before. Oh, that's got some grease. Yes, right. Seal and seal. Alright, so there's no new dust cap, just a pair of seals. If you were going to do fork seals, I'd do the pair actually, and then you know they're both the same. So this could be interesting. Right. Ooh, I do believe a seal driver. Although that looks like it's been fitted to something. I've got no idea. That looks like it. Yeah, put a bit of paper in there or something. So right, seal drivers, oil. They can go on the floor of forgetfulness. Seals, product code FOS LF3. I can always just look that up. Why have I got the Indiana Jones theme tune in my head? Right. We'll go and have a look at the microfiche. I'm guessing end cap off. Obviously there's a spring, spacers, and there's still a damper rod. It's how to split the halves that I'm going to have to look at. The pre-ones were dead easy. You literally just took the cap off, like undid a circlip and just went. But this might not be that easy. So we shall look. There's no nothing there, no bolt there. That's a bloody good spring, that is. Right, sorted. I will be back shortly. Right. I've done a little bit of pictorial research and I think this is off. God, I'm going to be so wrong. A Kawasaki Mean Streak, which was actually an American spec. I don't think they were sold over here. So it's probably an import. And if I understand it correctly, it's not like the Aprilia's forks. The Aprilia's upside down forks are really easy, dead simple. Ooh, you have to get a little brush on that. You literally just took an end cap off, pulled the bottom of the fork out, and you could actually do the seals while the fork was in the bike. The other fork has a bolt hole up there. This one hasn't. So I'm just hoping that when we get the cap off, I think the cap on these is more just like a blanking cap, a sealing cap, because obviously held the oil in. But as it's been leaking, I can't measure the oil that comes out for an accurate thing. But if I've got the make of the bike right, I can then find out how much oil to put in. Basically, unlike the Aprilia forks, this one is basically a conventional fork, but they've put the axle end the wrong end to make it an upside downy. So you'll have, I'm guessing, you'll have the blanking cap there, and then there's probably a shim and then a nut that holds the damping rod. How the damping rod is secured down there, got no idea. I'm just hoping the impact will whip it out, because if not, we're going to struggle. So it's basically it's a normal fork. It's just got the axle end the wrong end, and then in here you've got your dust cover. Then you'll have a circlip, or the fork clip, they're like a big circlip. Then you'll have a metal washer that the circlip sits on, and then you'll have the seal, and then obviously you've got your bushing and stuff under the seal. If you're going to split a fork, replace the bushings, especially if it's getting on a bit, but you know, that is, and otherwise they'll just keep blowing. I had a GPZ900 once, and it used to blow fork seals about every 2 months until I replaced the bushings, and then it was fine. So what I'm going to do is go and get the impact, get this end cap off. I don't think this end cap, I don't think it's under spring pressure. I think the damper rod is held inside with a circlip, but I might be wrong. If it is held under spring pressure, what I'm going to do is wrap a cloth around it, stick it in the vise, and then if it does pop, at least it ain't going to be flying everywhere. So I'm going to wrap some cloth around this and put it in the vise, and then at least we sort of know where we're starting from. And with any luck I can rest this other bit just there. Probably not. I only want to grip it, I don't want it really tight. I'm probably going to lay it down actually. Yes, we'll lay it down and I'll stick something on the floor. You only want to pinch this, just hold it, otherwise you can deform the tube. There we go, that's nice and solid. Right, let me go and get some tools. So that looks like a 24 on the end. I've got nowhere else to put you really, other than that shelf. Unless I move my yet to be rebuilt Space 1999 Eagle, one of my favourite starships of all time. I think my ultimate favourite starship must have been the Millennium Falcon. But anyway, let's put you there. Is that better? Can you see? So, I've either got this very right or very wrong. This is either a blanking cap with no spring pressure, or there's a load of spring pressure. There we go. I do believe it's 24. Yeah. Jim, would it actually be wise to start on doing this by hand? Nope. Right, let's see. I am going to apply a bit of downwards, and this is probably where the spring hits me in the face. Okay, now I'm going to finish it off by hand. Super fine threads. I hope I don't struggle with this like I did with the ZX10 ones, because the ZX10 Kawasaki caps, I don't know what make suspension they use, whether it's shower or something like that, but their threads can be super fine, dead easy to fuck up. I think that's it. It says, not convinced. It's still in there a bit. I'm going to buzz it. I'm going to buzz it. Real time action, folks. You see. There we go. Nice. Oh yeah. Oh fuck me. We may struggle to get that. Right. Yeah, it's just a blanket cap. The threads all look fine. They will be cleaned up. But the rod is all the way down there. So it might be that I have to there we go. Lovely. Right, so we've got a locking nut for the damper rod. That looks like there's a shim and a damper in there. Nice. Alright then. Well, we'll crack on with that. Oh, I wonder if the spring's below it or whether John's already took the spring out then. I don't know. I'm guessing he's already took the spring out because there's nout holding that now. Good man, John. He's probably already drained it. Good. Saves Uncle Fat Jimmy a job. Right. We'll see if we can get this split. Yes. Oh look, you're on top of the heater. I think by the looks of it, my old pal John has already drained it, took the spring out, which makes my life a whole lot easier. Yeah, it's definitely been. Let's bring you over here. Oh, X-wing camera. Yep, that's enough of that. It's definitely been leaking, obviously, and there's a bit of warpage there. That's full extension now, which normally you really wouldn't see out on the road. So what I've got to do now is we'll get the old Jim, use both hands, you cunt. Get the dust seal out of the way, pop the clip out of the way, and now we've got the nut off the damper, we should be able to slide hammer. Is that making you feel ill yet? Slide hammer the two pieces apart, if that's how I think it works. Cunt. And then we'll be able to replace the seal and all that lot. Probably won't need the seal driver, but we'll give it a go. But wrap a bit of towel in or something around the stanchions. Stanchions are in really good condition actually. So I'm going to push you back up there so you can see. C. And I'm just going to start gently lifting this. I say gently lifting, I'm going to give it an encouraging thump. There you go, that's started. Once they start, they tend to move pretty well, and then you can just get your screwdriver in and just prise it out. There's no effort required at all, which is good because I don't want to expend any. So that's the dust seal, slide that out of the way. There's a little bit of cack around it. Sometimes a leaky seal is just cack. It's just cack got in the seal, and you can get something like a seal buddy. I did have one looking about. Something like a seal buddy, like this. And what you do, lift your dust cap up. It can all stay on the bike. Lift that out of the way. Get this in, and you get it between the stanchion and the seal. Just work around it, and you'd be surprised how much crap comes out. Sometimes you can reseal the fork, but you know, the motocross chaps like to do it a lot. Right, what I've got in here now, I don't know whether you'll see it, but there is like a circlip going around there, which holds the seal in. Once that circlip's out, we can then do the slide hammery bit. Oh, you might be better over there, look. It's like my Just Jane t-shirt. Went to see the Lancaster the other day. Very good it was too. Right. There you are, you little bugger. I'm probably using completely the wrong clip for this. And there's the clip. You see what I mean about it sort of being a circlip but not a circlip? It's that sort of shape. Big beefy bastard for Kawasaki. And now in theory there should be nothing holding that seal back. This is where it could go disastrously wrong. So we'll just nip that up a bit more, and what I'm going to do is use a sexual slide action, and the damper rod will butt up against the seal and all that lot. So I should yeah, it's coming. I might have to go outside though and get a bit violent. Yep, it's coming. See, there is. You see that? You can actually hear it building a little bit of pressure. So the seal's not completely wanked. She's a coming. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this outside and probably get violent with it. Basically hold both ends and it's going, it is going. Right, I'm going to carry on working on that. I'll bring you back when I've done it. They're brilliant forks. That's what's stopping it coming apart at the minute. That is a castle nut, which I didn't know it had. And apparently, according to the forums, it's not very tight. Well, I've just tried to get it out using a drift. And it ain't moving. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I might have to buy the special tool, get it here next day Amazon or something. The Kawasaki tool is £100, so we won't be going down that route. But yeah, I'll see. I'll get there.
One eternity later.
Folks, another wonderful day in the shed. Right, I'm trying to crack on with this fork. The problem we've got is I can't split the two sides. I mean, you can take the circlip out. Here we are. Look. It's compressible. That's the dust seal. Behind the dust seal there's a circlip, and then there's the seal. And in theory it's all sort of loose. That should be bushings bashing against bushings, but I have wailed on this, and I mean, you can tell it's bushings, look, because it's wobbly. It gets better as you go down, which is good, but yeah, it should be a little bit wobbly up there. And I've tried slide hammering it and all sorts. So anyway, last night I got the service manual, because the Kawasaki Mean Streak is exactly the same fork. One side is rebound, one side is damping, so you've got two different forks on one bike. And it does say in the service manual, there's a castle nut here. You have to take the castle nut out. I'm guessing it's under a touch of spring tension, get the right word. So I've even tried putting a ratchet strap over this. Put the nut on the end so you don't damage the threads or rip the strap. You don't want to rip your strap on. And just took a bit of tension off this rod, and I've tried to get that castle nut out, and it is not moving. The tool for it is £100. Fuck that. What I thought it was, why not make a slightly bigger version of this? Because if you can see inside, there's the castellations, but also inside there's holes. So I'm thinking making a tool similar to the angle grinder spanner out of some flat steel, so it slips over the rod, and then a couple of bolties fitting the holes. That's my next plan, is to make a tool. This was confusing John, the guy who owns it. This one is off, I'm going to get the model wrong, Suzuki VZ1600. It's a Marauder. I think it may be an import because they were sold over here as a Boulevard. Ooh, gay. I'll show a picture of a similar machine. Are you ready? The Wall of Wonder. Here is a picture of a similar machine. As you can see, great looking bike, thumpy, torquey. Tends to be ridden by fat old men who pretend to be bikers and dress like homosexual pirates. You know I'm joking. The good bikes. And these are basically super bike forks. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just try slide hammering them apart, because John was saying him and his neighbour did the seals the last time, and they managed to split both forks without special tools and stuff like that. So I mean, in theory there shouldn't be anything holding this back from popping out with a little bit of effort, because I mean, I've looked at the schematics and all that lot, and there's pretty much not a lot to it. It should separate now, but I'm having trouble. I mean, I've tried using it. I'm not going to do the action. Yes, you are. I've tried slide hammering it, and the seal ain't moving. The metal springs come out the seal, so the seal's collapsed. So the seal has no tension on the stanchion at all, but it still ain't coming. I might just give it a whale, but the trouble is with doing it like this, if the manual says take that nut off, you're relieving tension off something, or you're allowing something to disassemble further, which I think is the case. And then in theory this should just pop off. I think it's that that's keeping it. My worry is that if they manage to split the fork without taking that nut off, they've damaged the bushings, because you're going to override bushing over bushing to do that. That's my worry. Don't worry, be happy with the steak and kidney pie and chips. Teeth in. What am I doing? Get that stuff out of the way. Anyway, I've just lost my shit. Not really. Just had a major, not a major grump, a little gripe. This fork, John, you bastard. John's lovely, actually. I've actually joined one of the forums to see what they say, because, like I say, John and his friend apparently split the fork without taking that nut out, but that nut holds the damper assembly in, so don't know. I've had the idea. I'm doing a bit of Fred Dibnering. Yeah, like that. Oh, I should have put my boiler suit on and my flat cap. Anyway, I'm making a tool. Jim, you are a tool, and a very small one. Anyway. What I'm doing, I'm making a tool, because as I've shown you on the fizzy beverage, what I've shown you on the nut is that there's holes that we can go in. So what I'm trying to do is, like I said before, is make a bigger version of like an angle grinder spanner, and I'm going to thread. I've started, so I've bung the hole in for the damper rod to slide over. God, I've got the wind. And then I'm just doing the little rolls, and the idea is I'm going to tap those and screw a bolt in. I don't want the bolts to sit loose, because then they can wiggle and move, and failing that, not got a fucking clue. I might have to take it up the bike shop and see if the bike shop will just buzz that out for me, because putting it back is very often easier. Or I can take it back up the bike shop, doesn't matter. You know, I don't mind doing that, and quite often he'll do it for free, because I'm such an amazing customer. Anyway, in other news, join me shortly. Why did I call you shortly? I have a little confession. Well, there's a new pope. Now's a good time for it. I've always been absolutely useless at DIY. Can't work wood. Can't screw screws into wood to save me life. Anything like that. And when I was younger, until I got a bit of trainification, I was utterly useless with spanners and shit like that. My approach to everything was guerrilla it. You know, used to get really frustrated and shit like that. But over the years, from the people I've learnt from, etc., etc., the golden rule I was told when I started engineering and all this lot is let the tool do the work. And it doesn't sort of make sense. You think, well, I'm using the right tool. But what basically mean is, if you've got a cutting tool, like a saw or a drill, let it do the work. Just apply the mildest of pressure. Quite often, the weight of the tool is sufficient. And I've always struggled with hand tools and stuff like that. Spanners and stuff I'm fine with now. I enjoy a lot of the stuff I do, even though it's frustrating and stuff. I'm learning all the time. So when I've just drilled these holes, basically I'm just very, very slightly leaning against the drill. I'm giving it a chance to cut, because if you just guerrilla it, it doesn't get a chance to cut. You'll just blunt it. You'll find your ideal pressure, because you'll always see chips coming out, and if you always see chips coming out, you're at your sort of ideal pressure. And it does help to have a sharp set of drills. These drills are new, well, sort of new, and the Bosch, so they're half decent. But yeah, I just thought I'd pass that tip on. Jim, that was fucking useless.
A few moments later.
So, news from the shed. It's just a little, you know my videos, I hop from one thing to another. Oh, look at that, nearly went all the way over on that tyre. Nice. I'll tell you something, I saw a Panigale the other day, it's a beautiful bike. It got his Ducati leathers on, his Ducati helmet, his Ducati gloves. You know, his outfit was basically worth more than my entire fleet, and then probably more. But his bloody chicken strips, his tyre wasn't new. It was squared off like that. I mean, big wide tyre, but squared off like that. And his bloody chicken strips were like that either side, and I thought, fuck me, you could land a 747 on that. Now, I have ridden a lot of motorbikes that you didn't really need to lean to get around a corner. Do you know what I mean? You didn't need to be dangling off it, and you know, the Mike Hailwood technique was apt.
The Z's the same. The Z all these bikes, including Phillies, on their standard tyres will quite happily get the pegs down. But I don't tend to ride like that because there's no need. Absolutely no need. You know, but I'm quite happy with them Conti Goes. I'm really happy with that. Spurt's got his new tyre, as you saw the other week. I've got 2 trip meters on Spurt, which I adore. The one thing that really bugs me about Phillips is no trip meter. But, you know, yeah. I've now done 1,222 miles on Spurt. The fuel pump is coming this week, and I'll fit that. But the other news is, Olive, as you know, is all legal. She was MOT'd a little while ago. That's all good. No problems with Olive. Fingers crossed. Although I have noticed her fan, when the weather is warmer, her fan seems to be coming on slightly earlier than it normally does. I know that sort of logically makes sense, but I've only got to be 2 or 3 minutes in traffic, and she's up just above the 80 on the gauge, which I'm guessing it's definitely Celsius. But I think the fan doesn't come on till about 86, so it's coming on at 86. It's never gone in the red, never. And if I know I'm going to be there a little while, I turn the engine off anyway, because she seems to restart all right now. Fingers crossed. Spurtle is in for an MOT next Wednesday, and then Thursday Felice is having her MOT at the local bike shop, because we always support local. So I rang him yesterday to book it in, and he went, "Oh, it's that 6-fingered fucker from the Village of the Damned." So yes, he knows, but I've known him years. I've always used that shop for MOTs, for bikes. So yeah, they know. They sort of, although my bikes are scabby, you know, appearance-wise, mechanically they're always bob on, and if they're not, he'll tell me, and then it gets fixed. One thing he did notice on the MOT on the Aprilia, I've never noticed it, but when it was on the brake roller, official language, there was a very, very slight fluctuation, so that means the front disc is warping. So I will at some point replace the disc. Anyway, that was your update from the shed. Hello there, children. It is now 2 days later. It's Friday, and I started doing this, or having a really good look at it, Wednesday, because I have Wednesday, Thursday off, and it got to the point where I cannot split this, and so I thought, am I doing something wrong? No, all the circlips are out, the lot, and I think, right, before we do anything else, let's just go to the bike shop. I read the service manual for both the Marauder and the Mean Streak, which share the fork, and basically on this fork, one fork is damping, one fork is rebound. So one fork is normal with a damper bolt here, they just split, but this one has a castle nut that I've showed you, and I tried making a tool up and I broke the tool. That's how tight it is. So I've gave up. I've just gone up to the bike shop, and he had the proper tool, and he's put it on, and he has cracked it loose for me. So now I can take that nut out, and hopefully it will just split apart. We can bang the seal in, then the circlip, then the dust seal. Dust seal's alright, but we'll clean everything up before it goes apart. And because the fork will be totally dry, I will put the quantity of oil in that says for a dry rebuild, because it will be totally dry. The critical thing with these forks is oil level. So I'm going to put the correct amount of oil in, and then how you measure the level is you have the fork compressed like this, and then you measure from the top down. You can do it with a ruler, a tape measure, cable tie, whatever, just as long as you can dip in there, and it has to be a certain distance from the top. But before you do that, pump the fork a few times, get the oil sort of settled. Oh, I'm settled now, I don't want to go out. And then you measure it. So now thanks to toolage, I can crack on. Heelson. See, I looked for the special tool and I couldn't see it. So anyway, I'm going to crack on, get this split, and I'll bring you back. Coming out now. It was, you know, welling. I'm just taking it gently in case there's any spring pressure here, which I think there is. But yeah, that will come out now. But I'm just taking it easy because it feels like there's a bit of spring pressure behind it. So yes, and I'm not going to film removing it completely in case it explodes in my face. Entertainment value, I'd bring you back. Right, what I've done is I've just pulled the damper rod in slightly to take the spring tension off, and then if it does decide to explode, at least it'll damp it down. This isn't very tight, look, you'll get a duff note on it, but that's what I'm doing. So we'll carry on. Okay, that's loose now. It's just fell out of whatever it was screwed in, and it didn't explode in my face. Now hopefully it won't now as I release the spring tension. It's not under a lot of tension. There we go. That was my idea. But like I say, I read the service manual and stuff, and they all say you've got to take this out. So I don't know how they did it last time, because I have struggled for 2 days to do this, and in the end, before we break anything, go and seek help. And my local bike shop's brilliant. Times I've had to take forks up there because I couldn't get, before I had impact gear, thank you Uncle Steve, I couldn't get bolts out. I mean, once I was struggling all day to do a GP Z900 and I went, I can't do it, and he just went, there you are. So now that bit comes out. You see, very fine thread, and it's fine thread basically because it contains oil. But now, in theory, should be a spacer. Yay! And the rest of it, I think, should just drop out. So we've just got to remember the sequence of spacer, roddage. But I should re-watch the footage. Right, I'm going to go outside and pull it apart. Outside, so you can watch me pull my length. Be warned, the camera may fall off the bench. It is moving, but I'm going to actually put that other bit in the vise and give it a good whaling. It's all apart. There is absolutely nothing holding these two together other than the two bushes and the seal. And we've just been working for an hour to try and split it. We've put a rod all the way down here, seats in here, and tried pushing this out. It will not fucking go. There should be nothing holding it, and it won't go. So I'm suspecting last time the seals were done, something was damaged, because there is no way it should be like this.
Just one more thing.
No. I'm going to end part 1 of the fork video there. It's now Saturday, and I've seen John and said, hope your ears are burning, because I'm going to be talking about you on video. But no, I mean, we both, everybody, all parties now know the state of play is that there is only the bushings and the seal left in that fork. Everything else is out and in a box, out of the way of all the crap, to the side. So I think what's happened is, I think the bushings are damaged, and that's why they're not. The bigger bush should pull the smaller bush out. This sounds so wrong. And with it, usually the seal using a slide action. Well, we've been pretty violent with it, as in the jerking motion. Jimmy, it's not sounding any better. And it ain't separating. So the other options that we've got is, I did have a really big like steel rod that I used to use to do fork seals, and it was basically, I tapered the end so it was like this Kawasaki special tool, not exclusive to Kawasaki, it does apply to other manufacturers as well, but basically it had an end like that on it, and I used to rest the fork on it so the fork was using its own weight to hold the damper rod to get the end bolt out. Well, there's no end bolt on this. It should now just pull apart. I mean, like I said, I've been up the bike shop, borrowed the tool. It is completely stripped apart from the bushings and the seal. So we're just going to see how we get on. But we've been work today. I'm going to leave it today. I can't face it. Anyway, some parts have come in. Can you guess what's in the box, children? Fuel pump. That didn't go to plan. Fuel pump for spurt has come in, and yes, this was the one I told you about, which I have bought for, I don't know, it's about 25 quid, whatever it was, 25, 23, I don't know, but this exact pump, same colouring, same part number that's on the box, somebody else was trying to sell for £199. So do your own work, have a scroll through, because something like £199 I think is more expensive than actually the original Kawasaki pump, which I think is 140 quid, but I may be colossally wrong on that, because I think I looked when I first suspected the other one to be duff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually end this video with this bit, and then when I film again, which is probably Sunday, tomorrow, the plan is, I don't know what my plan is for the weekend, to be fair, but it'd be nice to fit the pump to spurtage ready for his MOT on Wednesday. And quite handily, this, I think you'll be able to see it, is embossed with an in. So there you go, can you see that? It's got in written on it. Nice. Which is kind of handy, because obviously we're going to orientate this. I'm going to orientate it the same way as the Quacker pump, which I think was like that. The only slight difference is the vent is slightly different, and this one looks like a small gnome's penis. Anyway, so that's come in. The other thing I ordered was the threads in the mirror mount on the clutch side of Olive, the Aprilia, are mothered, because I've got like a phone holder stroke. I want to mount something there which is like a phone holder, and I've also got a waterproof GPS holder. Not that I use it very often, GPS at all, but it ain't half handy if you can mount one sometimes. These days I pretty much just use, if I need directions, I use the phone. So I looked up the Aprilia Pegaso mirror mount perch, clutch perch is the official name. Cannot be had for love nor money, and the reason I wanted it is because, as you can see where it splits, it has the mirror mount, official universal action fork mirror mount. But I noticed when I was test riding meat the other day that a lot of Triumphs have mirror mounts on the clamp, and so what I did was I ordered this one, and this is a Triumph one, and this came from, I do believe, oh, paperwork's upstairs, Cheshire Bike Bar, bleh. Borrow somebody's teeth, Jim. Cheshire Bike Breakers, and I think I'll put it down on the texties. I think this is off a Tiger, actually. It'd be an early Tiger, I don't know, but yeah. So in theory, the bolt spacings on a lot of these clamps, because it's for a generic 22mm handlebar, should be the same spacing. So that end bit, which is this is the only bit I need. Get on with it. Hopefully it'll just bolt on and work, and then I can mount my phone mount or whatever. I can actually then pinch it between the mirror and this. What's happening now is that a lot of the threads are mullered, especially the threads at the top are mullered. These look okay. Is that when you put a tiny little accessory bracket or anything on it, it's then no longer in clean threads, and it won't tighten up. It just pulls the mirror straight out. I mean, yeah, you could have like JB welded it and re-tapped it and all this lot, but I didn't want to do that, so I thought I'll get that. So that's your other news, and this is the end of this video. This should be coming out on Saturday night, so please do enjoy the rest of your weekend. And that's it until the next one. Obviously I'm going to I'll film the pump install anyway, because somebody might find it useful, and then if we do manage to split these forks, I've got the seal, but I think when they're split it's going to be new bushes as well, which is fair enough. John's okay with that. And then we'll just see how we go. See how we go. And apart from that, I can't really do much more. So, I've got a little patch to put in the back of the Merc, where the fuel pump cover goes. It pulled one of the studs out, so and it pulled a little patch of bodywork out, because it was where it sat, it trapped water, and then there's a bit about like that size that it just pulled out. So I'm going to put a patch over that. So I've got to do that, and then the Merc's nearly ready for an MOT. So yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway, Jim waffling again. Bye bye. See you next time. Be nice to each other, kids.